And I think that was really important in part of my spiritual journey later on, because I started to see myself not just assume, but as a concept, as an idea, as an ideology.
Welcome to the Better Man Podcast with Ivan and Sumedh. This podcast is all about how to be an optimal, conscious male in today's society. Join Ivan and Sumedh as they go deep into the rabbit hole of personal growth, mindset, social dynamics, and spirituality. Are you ready to be a better man?
All right, recording. Everybody, welcome back to the Better Man Podcast.
With Ivan and Sumedh.
Yeah, all right, guys, we're doing that. We're doing that now. So today, I am interviewing my co-host, Sumedh. Everybody give an applause to Sumedh.
Yeah, what's going on, guys? Thanks for having me on.
So everybody, just a real quick on Sumedh. You guys won't know these things about him, right? But he, from a young age, he was an author. His thing was creativity, always creating, always doodling, always trying to, move the world with his expression. And he actually had books that were printed out. He got to meet like top people in his school because he was such a high performer. Like in award ceremonies, they had for this guy. Now, even though you might think, oh, we're listening to a child prodigy, I promise you, Sumedh is just like you. Sumedh has struggled before. Sumedh had trouble opening up to people. He had trouble opening up to himself. And today, Sumedh is going to share his beautiful life with us. So thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking. Thank you for sharing this with your friends. And thank you for allowing us to do what we love to do.
Excellent. Thank you so much, man. Thanks for having me on.
Do you want to give us the affirmation of the day?
Okay. All right. So,
whatever you just felt right now, it's an intention. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
Gratitude, maybe?
Gratitude. I'm getting more like the fluctuations of life, like sometimes we feel low, sometimes we feel up, and that's a part of it. So I would just say the affirmation for today is sunrise, sunset, sunrise, sunset.
Sunrise. In this moment, we take it, we allow it, we express it, we feel it, we become it. Thank you, God, for being one with the moment. Thank you, God, for being one with the moment. We sunrise and we sunset. We sunrise and we sunset. We are the cause and the effect. We are the moon and the sun. We are earth itself and all living creatures on it. Thank you, God, for this oneness moment.
Amen.
Oh.
Yeah. Like the beginning of it.
Woo.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
All right.
All right, bro. Tell us something about you.
Man, I've always been kind of a deep person, very introverted. I've sort of, gone through the process of really discovering myself throughout my life. I was always very, let's say, shy in terms of socializing with others. I had anxiety growing up. I had anxiety, depression growing up, and I rose out of that.
At what
dug
age?
Myself.
At what age did you have it?
When I was around maybe I had it once when I was really young.
Oh, multiple times in your life then?
Yeah, multiple times. So once when I was super young, maybe when I was like 10, and then another time it showed up in my college, in my time in college. when that was like when I was like 18 or 19, maybe.
Yeah,
In the
was it from
first,
the same thing? Did you get into depression from the same thing?
no, it was different things. It was different things. Yeah.
I said, did you get into it like it was like some sort of club?
Yeah, like a membership.
You paid $9.95 a month, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it was sort of like that actually. It felt like that in a way. It was part of some club.
so what ended up happening? Was it from the same thing? Did your depression happen from the same thing?
I remember the first time when it happened, it was more in terms of like a friend who I was really close with had left.
Mm,
Um, it
I
was
think
when I
it's
was in
obvious.
Switzerland at the time, and he completely left. He was from Zimbabwe, and we were really close. We would always hang out, but then I had nobody to like express myself to, so I just trapped all my emotions inside, and that's one of the things that causes depression is when you bottle things up. So
Mm,
I sort of felt like I bottled all of my emotions in that time. I went to a psychiatrist for the first time, I think, like, and when I was like 10, and he was asking me about, uh, like, it was probably something related to my parents. At that time, I didn't think so. I
mm,
knew that it was because of that guy, but I still went along with it. I was sort of just like, all right, I'll listen to this guy. I guess so. Maybe there's a link.
mm,
And then later on in college, it was more um, just an overwhelming feeling of being independent and like I have to look out for myself. I was away from my parents from a long time, and it was just out of my comfort zone.
mm.
So yeah, that was the second time. But yeah, it was pretty
I
interesting.
feel like both of those times it had to do something to with comfort. Both it seemed like both of those times you lost comfort.
Yeah,
That was the cause of both of those depressions. You be getting put into a new situation where you don't know what it's gonna be like. You know, like with your friend, you don't know if
yeah,
you're gonna get another friend.
it's like
You
complete
know,
unknown. Yeah,
you're gonna be able to get listened to and acknowledged and appreciated, accepted fully, right?
yeah,
And then there's also that sort of like fear of loss, right?
mm,
Fear of loss is sort of happening in both. It's like, what if I lose the life that I used to have? What if I use that safety?
right.
What if something happens when I'm here? I lose that safety. You feel
Yeah,
ego.
I was.
Fear of loss
Yeah, I
of
was
ego.
totally, man. I was afraid of losing my identity at that time as well because I had actually I wanted to reinvent myself in college, so it was actually a great thing that it happened for a reason, I'm sure, because I was like, yeah, in high school I was sort of the yeah, I was popular, you know what I mean? Like I was like going on stage, people would know who I was, but at the same time I just wanted to create more of an impact when I went to college. And so that's when really I started to, experiment with my looks, experiment with the way I carry myself differently, and it caused a different kind of impact in people. So college was kind of like my social experiment in a way.
Mm, I get you. But do you feel like that was? Do you feel like because this happened to me?
Mm,
Like maybe you were while you were experimenting with yourself, with your experience, and with your personality.
yeah.
Um, Looking to experience new feelings, right, through that experimentation of self.
Mm,
You feel like you had to, at times, pretend to be somebody else you weren't in order to find out that that's who you were not meant to be.
yeah, 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 totally.
I like that look at your face. If you guys are listening, go to YouTube as well, subscribe there, and look at Sumed's face at whatever minute is you keep track of.
Yeah, so the thing is, I even wrote my college thesis on this topic, which is really funny, bro. Like, my college thesis was fake it till you make it versus, so it was authenticity versus role play. That
Shit.
was the topic of my thesis, bro.
It's a polarizing. It's I
Yeah.
bet you were polarizing with your to yourself even in that old essay.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I was for sure. Um, Yeah, and I was learning a lot at the time in terms of like I just gotten into social dynamics knowledge and all sorts of like personal development knowledge. So I was really like trying on different personas, different personalities, seeing what really clicks. But people knew me like as the guy who had awesome, like bizarre clothing choices and like, outlandishly was just like rapping and like, I got to the point where I was unfolding different parts of my personality, like different fragments of my personality that time.
Hmm. Okay. Holding out. So let me see if I got this right. You were grabbing onto new ideas, right? So it was the detachment of I am this person, and then attaching it to I'm now going to see if my experience of life is a bit better whenever I behave and I act in this particular way.
Yeah, I was sort of testing that out, testing the waters. Yeah.
What do you wish you wouldn't have done in those times that you were, what are your regrets that you would try to warn people whenever they're trying to role play with life and trying to become
Mm,
something else? That's a good
that's
question.
a really that's a really good question. Yeah. All right. So first thing I would definitely say is, man, know your limits. Know
Mm,
your limits, bro. Because the thing is, when you don't know your limits and you take it overboard, the universe is gonna come and slap you and tell you, like, look, even if you push towards a certain extreme, it does lead to the palace of wisdom because it's like, pendulum swings this way, can easily swing that way.
mhm,
So I would just say one thing is, first of all, like, know your limits, know who you are, and explore that to the level best.
mm,
Um,
mm. So
and and that's a crazy thing to wonder. It's like, who am I? It's like, am I this flesh suit? Am I this spot? Am I this body? Or am I something greater than that? Am I the person behind my eyes? Who's behind that? You know what I mean? So it's like all of these existential questions came up during that time too. And I think that was really important in part of my spiritual journey later on, because I started to see myself not just assume, but as a concept, as an idea, as an ideology.
as an ideology, seeing yourself, your persona as an idea.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. That is so that is so nicely explaining how you experience how you think you're gonna experience the world is the way you're gonna experience it.
Yeah.
How you think people should treat you is the way people are going to treat you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the golden rule, right? Treat others how you want to be treated as well.
Hmm. So what happened in your life that after you got out of that depression, what was the thing that was able to get you out of that depression?
Honestly, one biggest thing, bro, is disrupting the pattern. Like when you
How did
get
you do
into
it? How did you do it? That's what I want to know. How did you disrupt your patterns?
man, I just like joined the soccer team. I just like, I randomly just like started, trying out for different school plays. I started doing things out of my comfort zone to just push it more. So actually in the beginning when it felt too much of a panic zone, I I got scared, but then it sort of started to come back into this kind of, it like molted back into this sadness. And I was putting myself in a sad state. I was not sad. That was the biggest shift. So I was like, listening to really sad rap music and
Mm,
like sort of isolating myself more. I was walking with my head down. I was sort of, not expanding that personality. So it was my behavior that was keeping me in that depression. So one thing to disrupt the pattern is just like, change my body language. Big thing. I started to walk with more of an open body language.
Open,
Second thing was like,
like an open heart or open. What do you mean open? Like, what does that mean
yeah,
to you? What does that mean to you?
open in the sense that I was much more, let's say, vulnerable, and also I was a lot more like open just with my body. I wasn't like crossing my arms at a party, or I wasn't like sort of drooping my head down. I was really maintaining my posture, because the body and the mind are linked, right? So if we're sad and we're going like this, right, that's the body's confused. The body doesn't know what is real and what is not real.
The body doesn't know what's real and what's not real.
And
Oh,
the mind doesn't either, right? It's the body's the subconscious mind.
you
So the
know,
thing is,
how can you prove
yeah,
that to people? How can you prove to the people that the body doesn't know what's real and what's not real?
right. So if you just start laughing right now, you're going to feel better. Your endorphins are going to release. It's a feedback hypothesis.
Right? Right? Hey, you
Try
want to
that.
try it?
Yeah,
Try it, bro.
try that.
Try it. My brother's right here. He's gonna try it too. You wanna try it?
Try what?
Laughing, fake laughing, and see if you laugh for real.
I don't laugh.
But you got a smile on your
See,
face.
sometimes
That's a good thing.
that's the thing, is like, after a while, real laughter kicks in, right?
Yeah.
The body doesn't know. It's like, so that's the thing that I realize is like, yeah, after a while, you just have to be able to push yourself out of this kind of bubble that you're creating for yourself, and try out new, different things that stretch the boundary, that make you more evolved in that time. And that's tough to do.
Oh
It's
my
definitely,
God, dude! What the fuck? Fuck, bro. Fuck.
you got hit with a wisdom bomb right there. What happened?
Dude, thank you
Yeah.
for sharing the story with me, because it just made me realize, like, I don't know if you even realize this
Yeah.
about your own story and about your own life, but you went into your depression because you got out of your comfort zone. And in order to get out of your depression,
Yeah.
you had to go into your uncomfort.
Yeah. That's
So the
wild,
thing
right?
that got you into it is the thing that got you out of it.
Yes. That's wild, man. That's like, yeah, the hero's journey. That's the way I describe it, because it's like it comes full circle, man.
Yeah,
It's wild.
it's fucking cool, man. It's so fucking. Wow. My brother's here. His hand is on the screen.
Radical.
He's famous now. Follow him on TikTok. TikTok.
Radical. Like all together.
Just type Aaron. That's 2 A's. For Aaron Acosta, Acosta. He posts his Mexican videos. All right.
I gotta head out.
I'm gonna have to charge him for that commercial. So tell us more, man. Tell us more.
So yeah, I remember how I got into like hip hop. Like in the beginning, I was sort of confused in middle school, because I didn't really know who I was or what I was doing. I was sort of just like a guy exploring the world, funny kind of chap. And I came across hip hop. Actually, this guy named Sammy, who introduced me to Eminem. And at that time, I was like, bro, what are you talking about? Who is this guy? Like, why are you introducing me to him? I was very skeptical.
That's a chocolate, right?
Yeah, it's a chocolate, right? Like, like you mean like a candy bar? But yeah, he was like a really good friend of mine, but also like, yeah, we got into a little bit of a distance over time, but then we kind of became friends again.
Mm.
And Sammy, if you're listening to this, man, you know, you changed my life, whether you know it or not. Because at that moment, when I started listening, when I started watching 8 Mile, when I started going into all of that, that's what really sparked my expression. Because, and the reason I got into hip hop, I later on learned, was because it grounded me. It grounded my root chakra. Because rap is very primal. Rap is very like, yeah, rap is very
primal.
Rap is super primal, man. If you hear a lot of rappers, they're coming from the gut, right? It's like chanting in a way, like tribal chanting around a fire. So that definitely, that aspect of a cipher is very, very yeah, it's a primal expression of a guy. If you notice, a lot of feminine rappers are also very masculine in their energy. Have you noticed that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like Nicki Minaj, Iggy Azalea, they have a masculine energy to them. So the thing is, that masculine energy like helped me move me further along, to help me evolve to be a better man. And yeah, that was wild. Like, I think that at first I was just like performing on stages, you know, I was kind of quoting other people and other rappers. But when I first started creating for myself, I had a really squeaky voice then. So I'd be like, yo, it's crazy, you know, like, how's it going, guys? Like that kind of thing. So my voice hadn't fully matured yet for rap, but I was still writing lyrics all the time, like on the back of like a napkin, or like, you know, in my school notes, I would just write lyrics all the time. And yeah, later on, I just started recording them on a horrible like microphone, the cheapest mic you could find. And I would use like Audacity at that time, which is like a recording software, like the cheapest one out there. And you had to like download this like extra thing to get the microphone to work or something. It was wild, man. It was like I was really just like pushing myself. I still have like those sounds on. It was SoundClick at that time. SoundClick was like what's now like SoundCloud. Not what's now SoundCloud, but like what's popular now is like SoundCloud. But back then it was like SoundClick. And yeah, that was really funny, because I would go on these online forums, like, you know, Habbo Hotel especially, where I would just like start rap battling with people. And it almost became like an online community of rappers. And I was one of the only few Indian guys there. So I heard every single fucking insult on the planet at that time,
What?
you know, coming at me.
Why?
Yeah, bro. Because I was the only Indian guy. Think about that. All the Indian jokes in the world, I've heard it before. So that gave me a lot of, bro, that gave me so much power and charisma. You have no idea. Like that actually helped me to toughen up, because when you're rap battling with someone, they tear you apart, bro. That's their job. Like that's their job, you know? So after that, I was just like, yeah, nothing can stop me. But then I started to get less into a competitive frame and more into collaborative. And when that shift happened, that's when I started writing my books.
What had to happen for you to do that? Was it something bad? Was it something good? Something emotional? Something you lost, or maybe you won?
Yeah, that's the time when I went into depression. Yeah, that's the time when I went into. That's when I sort of peaked downwards.
They called you because they were talking shit to you?
Not because of that only. There were other factors, obviously, like, but it might have been one of the reasons. But yeah, one of the main reasons was that my friend left, as I mentioned earlier. But yeah, I think that during that time is when I started to explore, be much more compassionate in my own mind, because I knew that's something that was working for me. Because when you're in your own mind and you're letting your inner critic run the show, sort of like, hey, I got my hands on the wheel now, buddy. Sorry. It's swerving the way. It's swerving the path, right? Instead of just being your authentic self, or being like the higher version of you. So at that time, I was just like, yeah, I'm going to be a lot more compassionate with myself and see what happens. And that's when I started to reach out to, like, just started recording music, or like, you know, go more into that and finding other rappers I can collaborate with, even if it was a diss track or whatever. yeah, I wanted to collaborate on it. You know, I wanted to get my voice heard, even though if it was squeaky. I just wanted to record it and put it out there, even if it was whack. And after I started doing
Why?
that for a
Why?
while,
Why did you want to be suddenly become vulnerable? Because that's what I'm seeing, right? I'm
hmm,
not saying it's bad, but I think that's an important detail of you suddenly became vulnerable, right? And
yeah,
so, you know what? I don't care if I said you. I'm gonna just repeat your words. I don't care
hmm,
if my voice sounds squeaky,
yeah.
right? Why did you want to be vulnerable? Were you looking to get hurt? Did you feel like that sort of thing where you were being vulnerable and trusting with the universe? What's up with that?
Yeah, I felt more, it's like I wanted to be seen, you know? I wanted to be seen for who I was in that time, even if it was a part of me. I still wanted to let that explore. So I think that primarily, you know, when you start doing one thing over and over again, you sort of reach this point where you're like, I'm kind of bored with this, or I want to take this further some way. I want to tweak this. So that was the point where I was like, yeah, I'm rap battling, text battling online, you know, dissing other people, but how is that really helping humanity? Right?
Mm,
Like, so it was more about like contribution. So I started to figure out, what is my path here on this planet? Is it to diss other people? Is that my path, to roast people?
mm,
Or is it to add value?
dude. So like this is what I'm hearing from you. Like that, I think this is really amazing. I think what you're saying is really fucking. If it
I'm
man,
spitting fire.
if it was a girl, what you're saying, if it was a girl, I'd like to read a fucking book to her. You know, like that's how beautiful it is what you just said to me, right? You
Mm,
essentially, in my eyes, said because you were talking about contribution, giving back to the world, right? Rap for you was the way that you felt about your life purpose.
mm,
So whenever you were doing the diss tracks and stuff like that, that's how you felt about your life purpose. It was to focus into the rap and to focus into allowing yourself to be vulnerable and to get called fucking so-called mean things, right? It was in your
mm.
purpose to build yourself. Your purpose in that moment was to build yourself, right? And after you
Yeah.
built yourself, you realize, yo, I've built myself enough. Now it's time to bring people into the hotel, right? I built the hotel. Now it's time to get people into this hotel, right? And in the hotel, that's where
Yeah.
life changes.
Totally, man. I feel that it was a foundation. And then from that foundation, it's like I could build on top of that. Yeah.
What
That's
did
great.
my computer just said? Your internet connection is unstoppable.
Unstoppable. I think unstable, bro. I don't think it's unstoppable.
Oh, I heard I read unstoppable. I was like,
Your internet is unstoppable, bro. Keep going. That's awesome.
damn, thank you.
That's
You're
funny.
fucking awesome. I love you.
Yeah.
Do you like the way I'm repeating back to you your own lessons?
Yeah, I like that. I like because it's like an echoing effect. It's nice to hear your opinions or your take on what I'm saying. It's nice to hear that. Yeah,
Mm.
it's wild to like reflect back now on the kind of person that I was, and like how I've been, and like going through all the processes and the journeys. Like,
Where do you think you're going next? Like, who are you trying to be in this very moment?
hmm, where am I going next? That's a really good question, man. I think I'm just trying to practice not to wear a veil, but I'm allowing myself to not be so attached to my persona anymore, and rather I'm working on ascending, if that makes sense, in a spiritual way.
From what?
ascending my own consciousness.
What part of your own consciousness?
So like the parts of me that are inner child versions of me that haven't been felt, seen, heard, acknowledged.
Really?
That's what I'm working on right now, shedding those and being able to send love to my child self so that I can have a proper flourishing adult self. And I see myself right now like, I want to really, really expand my business and really, really expand what I'm doing here set on this earth.
That was gonna heal your inner child.
No, what's going to heal my inner child is being able to continue the things that I've begun in childhood, and also be able to go through. So I'm right now I'm going to go through the program called Spiral, and I've done that once in the past and it really shaped me. So I'm going to go for it again. And that's really about,
That's a very
it's really about, yeah, it's huge. It's really about removing like different traumas and different, emotions like guilt, shame, apathy, fear from the body, because the body stores all of it. And using kinesiology and different techniques, it just removes them. And then there's an empty.
with thoughts.
Sorry?
Kinesiology. When you mean touching? Hold on, my mom's calling me. But you could explain it to the people.
Right. So kinesiology is like a kind of muscle testing art form. And yeah, it's a very interesting kind of journey where you go through this process of taking different elements of Eastern, like the chakra system, meridian science, as well as using a kind of just a clearing process of the levels of consciousness. So we go through the levels of consciousness, associating it with the chakra systems, and really being able to just go through the process. So you're going all the way from root chakra all the way to crown, and it's just a whole process of just like clearing all the gunk, all the emotional shit that piles up just gets removed. And then after that's removed, there's just like this empty space, and you can choose what to fill that space with. So it's almost like a rewiring or a reprogramming process. And I've done this once in the past as well, and it's really, really powerful. And my practitioner at the time was Jackson, which was a guy. This time I'm thinking of doing it with a woman, because I think that that's a huge part of the huge element that I want to reconstruct.
Women
Because
are so good at being healers. Women are so
they
good.
are. Yeah, really, man.
But men are also good at being healers in terms of like holding space, right?
Yeah.
That's what I think that's the advantage of a man. And when it comes to the advantage of a woman, it's she's just able to just be there. Like, I don't know, wait, more lovingly?
Yeah.
Can I just say more lovingly? Is that
Yeah.
with more love? Just more love.
With more care, yeah. It's like, it's kind of a softness. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think that that's a replenishing energy.
A pillow for your heart emotions.
Yes. That's a good way to put it, man. A pillow for your heart emotions. But yeah, I want to go through that process again, because that's what I'm being called to right now, is to evolve really with different areas of my life. Yeah, I made a lot of shifts in terms of like, yeah, when you visited India also, there was a lot of health shifts happening. And then primarily, I was also looking towards the different areas of my life. So right now I'm primarily focused on health and relationships so that I can expand my wealth, because health is sort of the triad that connects to all the pieces.
Okay.
And if you have a vibrant energy, then it's kind of like the money starts to flow because you just have that much more to give.
Really?
Does that make sense?
So you're saying you've been limping because you haven't had health in the walking of life. In the walking towards life, you haven't had that leg to keep it stable. So
Hmm.
you've been limping.
I have, but it's just like I haven't found the kind of like structure. Now I have much more structure. Now I have much more discipline. Now I have like a framework where I can actually build. And I guess guys need to learn to do that. Just go with that one thing and just stick to it, and then just like, be able to go after it.
Hmm.
And that's the energy that I'm trying to embody more right now.
Do you think you've been lacking love for your body, and maybe that's why you've you know
Yeah. Yeah, I can, because I'm very cerebral. I'm very in my mind. And so when I get into my mind, I'm not thinking of my body, am I? Right? So I would say one thing for people who are cerebral like me is just like find a way to get in tune with your body, even if that's sitting 5 minutes a day, tuning into any kind of tension you have in your body, or if that's just like paying attention to the bottom of your feet. Like that's something that's really helped me ground myself and remind myself like, hey, I'm here in this physical dimension. I'm here in this world, and I got to get on with it. I got to keep moving. And also hanging around like, other coaches and people that I look up to. Right now I'm a part of Monk Mode Box um with Alicia Long. He's a YouTuber.
getting into groups, getting into
Groups, yeah.
different tribes, getting into different tribes. That is,
Tribe is super important, bro. Tribe is super important. It gets you leverage, accountability, pushes you forward. Yeah, for anybody listening, actually, I recommend that program. Just what?
a place to ask for advice.
Yeah, place to ask for advice. I
For your
also share my music on there, so I get feedback, I get support, I build a rapport with the guys. Yeah, it's nice, man. I think brotherhood is super key. If you want to be a strong man, you got to have a brotherhood which you can depend on. Yeah.
You know, I heard this line before and I thought it was very true. Like, it's cool to be a ladies' man, but if you're just a ladies' man and you're not a guy's guy, you're technically less alpha.
Yeah, very true. Because think about this, right? If you're hanging around only ladies or only women, you're only taking in feminine energy. You're not getting challenged.
Yeah, challenge. I think that's the right word.
Yeah, because why do guys like video games? Challenge, right? Women are like, what are you playing? Like, why are you playing COD 4 at 4 a.m. in the morning? Challenge, baby. It's just like guys like to have a level and then level up and then go through the process, get power ups along the way. That's how we've always sort of been throughout history.
Yeah, I think like moving in the direction of like almost like chasing something would be, what I'm saying. But I mean, eventually you would say no after you've chased for a while. You'd be like, no, it. Now I don't want to chase. I want to attract, right?
Yeah, totally.
So that would be a difference in the person that would happen within their own group, within their own tribe. They're like, it's like comparing, right? So in order to challenge ourselves, we actually have to compare ourselves, right?
Hmm.
Whenever they have video games, they have like the highest score. It's placed before you play, so you're like,
Yeah,
well, I want to beat the highest score, right?
right. Yeah, it pushes you.
So that pushing comes from comparing ourselves and seeing that there's something in someone who has more or has done more, right?
Yeah, it's something to strive to. It's something to look forward to. And growth is the consciousness of happiness. So like if you're looking forward to something, it's just going to move you forward, build that momentum. You're going to be in a good mood, right? Because you're excited about the results. You're excited about that dopamine hit at the end of it, that accomplishment. And the more you can focus on just like being able to future project, not too far ahead, but just a little bit further ahead, and sort of be like I don't know why, but I just got an image of like a lighthouse right now.
Mm.
I don't know what that means. Anyway, but yeah, like future
What is a
project.
lighthouse? I mean, let's break it down. What does water? What does the beach mean to you? I mean, or what does light mean to you? What does it mean to be a tough structure in the middle of the ocean? What does it mean to give guidance and light to others? What does
Yeah,
that mean to you?
that's a deep question, man. Yeah, I definitely do see myself playing that. At least I would say it's definitely a part of me to be a lighthouse because yeah, in the water when ships can't see or it's just so lost, I help to guide people that there is somewhere safe. Here you can be safe. Here I'm not going to judge you. Here I can hold space for you. And yeah, I'm in the water, so splash life again. The flow is a concept which came out of water. I'm a water sign, so it's very relevant. I know it's very relevant, but it's just yeah, helping others is now sort of a new part of my path. And sometimes people say like to kill the ego or whatever, but you sort of had to facilitate it. You know what I mean? Like it makes no sense that people are saying that.
Yeah, dude.
Um,
I don't honestly. I didn't like Ryan Holiday's book. His book,
yeah, no,
Ego is
fuck
the
that.
Enemy. Honestly, I was like, this is mediocre at best. Like,
Yeah,
there was nothing in there for me. There was really nothing in there for me.
yeah. I like his other book. I think is like Stillness is the Key. That's a better one, I would say. But yeah, that book was just I don't know. Like
And
even
it's
just the
like,
title itself, it's just not true. Our
just
ego is
not
our best
true.
friend.
Yeah, just not true. That's literally what I'm saying.
Yeah, but yeah,
But then again,
um,
all truths are true, and like,
yeah. All truths are half truths.
like it
Yeah.
helped people. There were some people who it helped, and really, what
Oh,
we're
true.
saying is we were just way too high up into consciousness, where we didn't need to hear that. We were
Yeah.
at that level because, something that I wrote in my book was that your ego controls is like it's part subconscious and part conscious, right? It's like the ego is like the blend of the higher conscious and the lower conscious, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, why are you
Yeah.
gonna
It's like a
hate
bridge.
it? It's not. You're not supposed to fucking hate all of your ego, and you're not supposed to hate it at all. You're just supposed to acknowledge that you're being run subconsciously and that you also have a fucking choice, right?
Yeah, it's survival mechanisms. If you didn't have it, you'd be in a lot of danger, bro. You'd be in a lot of trouble right now if you didn't have your ego.
True.
But yeah, I agree with that.
Have you ever
Um,
had your ego checked by life?
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, many times, man.
Did you cry?
I'm pretty sure I did. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. I think crying releases oxytocin, so that's the love and the trust hormone, man. So when we cry, it's actually really healing. We feel really good afterwards because it's teaching us to, that something is being released. It's physical, it's through the eyes, but it's a reminder that something is being released.
Sumedh, do you believe that people mostly cry when they're sad, or do they cry for other reasons mostly?
No, I think sadness is a part of it, but no, there can be tears of joy. There can be tears for other reasons, and I think sometimes tears come out just as a way for the body to flush all the emotions out. Like for people who are crying all the time, or going through a depressive cycle, I would just say that like, yeah, maybe the serotonin is low, and there might be a biological aspect to that, but also it's like the body trying to protect itself. It's like a way of the body to detox, like flush out all the things that need to be processed.
Mm.
So yeah.
A detox. That's the way you would describe it. Crying.
Yeah, because like, I don't know. I think of it even with your breath, like a breath work that I give to a lot of my clients is a pranic breath work. And that's a release breath work, right? If you've done transformation mastery, it's the same thing, right? You understand what that is. It's just a sound. And the sound is a reminder that we're letting something go.
Really?
So similarly, yeah, because your subconscious can hear the fact that you're actually something is leaving your body. So if you set the intention before beginning, like,
The sound
I want to
is
let
the sound
go of my
release.
pain. Yeah, the sound of release, yes.
So your body, and then it links back to the beginning of this episode where
Right,
the body doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's not real. So
right,
with
right.
your ego, you guide yourself to make the sound, and the sound tells your subconscious to release, and that it is releasing. Wow, very nice.
Yeah.
It's a very good. I like the way I linked the beginning to the end.
Yeah.
Really, it's not the end. I just linked the cause to the effect. That's all I did.
Hmm. Yeah, you're a pattern seeker. So you saw the patterns and you put them together. So yeah.
Yeah, I hope
So
everybody liked this episode. I think
yeah, man.
we're ready
One
for
final note.
we're ready for a closing in like 5-10 minutes.
Yeah. So I just wanted to wrap it up. So, I've been an extremely shy kid growing up. I couldn't really, I was an observer. I would just, like not a participant in a different things.
Yeah.
I would watch. I would just watch in the corner. I would stand in the corner. I'm sure a lot of guys resonate with that. And so one of the things that I would definitely remind you to do is find power in your introversion. Because if you resist it, it's going to persist. But if you love it and it's a part of you, you can expand and even go into extroversion. So it's sort of like if
Are
you
you an
say,
extrovert? So do you believe that we're only extroverts or introverts? Or do you believe we should even label ourselves? Because I think we're sort of a main one, right? Or do you think our main changes with time?
it's helpful sometimes to categorize yourself or like, do like personality quizzes and stuff like that to say like what kind of person you are or what kind of, values you have. It's nice to get a framework and a map, but the map isn't the territory, right? So the same thing, it's like, yeah, you want to sort of give yourself a mission, but you don't want to sort of just like be anywhere on that path.
Hmm? What?
Well, wait. So, okay. So what were we, so
Bro,
what were
I
we
thought
talking
you
about?
were like subconscious there and you just like allowed words to just leave you.
Yeah, I feel like I did.
So I was asking you about like categorizing yourself as
Introvert or extrovert. Right. Okay. Yeah. I don't know where that came from. Maybe I was channeling something, bro.
honestly, whoever heard it, I know like there's somebody out there who needed to hear that. I know
Needed
there's
to hear it. Yeah. 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 For sure.
because to them they connected something. I just personally I didn't, and I want to connect something.
Right. So introversion is finding energy from within. Extroversion is finding energy from other people. And so you could kind of say we're all introverts or extroverts because, hey, we got to go inward sometimes. Even extroverts got to go inward sometimes. So that's the main thing that I would say. Switch that dynamic of labeling yourself. Yeah, any label has its benefit and its, disadvantage. So yeah, find a label that works for you. Rip the labels off that are unhelpful and stick on labels that are helpful to you.
What I got from you was that well, you started out by explaining that introversion is getting energy from within, and extroversion is getting energy from around. So if you're not getting energy from around you, you're possibly at the wrong place, right? You're possibly hanging around the wrong people.
Wrong people. Yeah.
Because we all go around people that we're around them. Our life feels better. We feel more energetic.
Ooh,
We go
I just got something.
sometimes we go places and we just want to like be in the wall. Like you just want to be a fly on the wall. Like we're like, I don't belong here. So I'm just
So the thing that I realized throughout time was that I was not an introvert. I just liked peace.
peace.
And
Your version of what peace meant.
my version of what peace meant. And I hung around people that brought me that peace. So that made me extroverted. That feeling of safety, that feeling of peace.
Mm. Nice. Very beautiful. Very beautiful. Sumedh, where can they find you?
You guys can find me at Flozone Academy on IG, on Instagram. Yeah, I have a lot of IGTV videos, a lot of content. You can reach out to me, shoot me a DM on there. And yeah, stay tuned. May the flow be with you guys.
Everybody, thanks for listening. And I hope you feel a deeper connection with yourself. We thank you for going deep into the rabbit hole with us and expanding your consciousness with us. Have an amazing day. We love you from the Better Man podcast.
If you would like to contact Sumedh for peak performance coaching, go to @Flozone Academy on Instagram. That's FLOZONE Academy. If you would like to connect to your higher self, contact Ivan at odd.resilience. That's ODD.resilience. Also, make sure you follow the Better Man podcast on Instagram. See you next time.